All right, this time the cycle of deindustrialization. This is again chapter 11, Kyushu 4, slide 114. You can see at the bottom of the screen there. I thought I'd just walk you through this one really quick because it looks a lot more complex than it is, and a lot of it is common sense, but still it's confusing to look at. So let's go over it really quick. The way deindustrialization happens is it starts with any one of or combination of the three things at the top here. So local agglomeration, diseconomies. In other words, it gets overcrowded. So jobs start to leave. And when we're talking about agglomeration, remember we're talking about sharing transportation infrastructure and costs and things like that. So that can lead to overcrowding. So then, therefore, the industry leaves. Another potential that can go along with it is that that industry produces too much, and the market becomes saturated. So, in other words, there's no more demand, or the demand for the particular good that's produced through that industry stagnates. Lastly, the other one of the contributors to deindustrialization is competition with places that have better prices or lower costs or whatever. Say if Boeing were to move to South Carolina, that kind of idea, then you'd have places wouldn't be able to compete, so the industry might leave for another place. Okay, either way, when one industry leaves for any of these reasons or combination of them, what you see is a loss of jobs in the major local industry. Let's take cars in Detroit, for example. This kind of thing happened. So let's say one car manufacturer in Detroit closes right here. There are all sorts of secondary things that go along with it that further lead to deindustrialization. Those are the things down here. You see all the arrows. They're called multipliers. They multiply the problem. So when one of those local industries closes or leaves, that starts the deindustrialization. That causes a loss of jobs in local construction or service industries because the people who had the job, let's say the car manufacturing in Detroit, are suddenly out of a job. So they're not buying houses, no local construction. They're not going out to eat. They're not watching movies, or otherwise taking advantage of any of the services in the area. So these, what we call a secondary or ancillary, you see over here, ancillary services, those start to fall apart. At the same time, ancillary industries, again, if we're talking about car manufacturing, then we'd be talking about the single market manufacturers and things like that. Those close down, those lose money. Both of those lead to shrinking local tax base, which means that there are fewer people in the area who can buy into the economy, therefore paying taxes. If taxes aren't collected, then you see down here at the bottom that the infrastructure of the area begins to deteriorate. For instance, they can't keep up with the transportation that brought the agglomeration in the first place. They can't keep up with the transportation that's cutting the costs for the other industries. They can't keep up with all sorts of other things, power, electricity, all of the demand that's needed for industries, which then takes you back up here and you see maybe another major local industry closes and we restart this cycle. That's why it's called a spiral of deindustrialization. It just keeps multiplying on itself. Now, if you want to practice this, if you want to post something for me to look at or whatever, you can try this over here. Create a comic or story that illustrates the different contributors to deindustrialization to try to bring in all of those separate pieces. All right, I know I'm hurrying, but that's because I have a 5-minute cap, so I'm probably about to run out of this time. I'm going to post this again on Discord and Classroom so that you can watch these at any time. Drop questions via Classroom, Discord, or email to me, and I will do my best to answer. All right, we will sign off for now and talk to you again soon.